Hello, my name is Michael Berger, and I have an associate's degree in mechanical engineering and a bachelor's degree in digital science. I have a certificate in AutoCAD and cybersecurity. I worked as a student IT assistant at the University of Akron, a math tutor at Stark State College, SMT operator at Airborne Electronics, and as a student team leader at Kent State University in the Federated Desktop Support Department.
And my name is Gregory Hess. I have a bachelor's degree in digital sciences from Kent State University. I have a Test Out Security Pro certification, as well as numerous certifications through LinkedIn courses. I've held numerous IT positions in end-user support across Kent State, Beechwood Systems, and Northeast Ohio, and in my local area, in local town of Northeast Ohio, as I reside. And I'm en route to a rotational in Brooklyn, Ohio, this coming summer. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the TechIT podcast. This is the September 25th edition on 2022 of the TechIT podcast, and we got a good one for you today. Be it how you're listening, be it however you're listening to us, be it in your car, in your house, or wherever you like to listen to your types of media. So first, let me go through and run down the stories we have today, which includes updates on, if you've heard about this, the Uber hack that happened this month in September, EVGA breaking up with NVIDIA, a discussion about Google versus TikTok search services and how more people are suddenly using TikTok over Google all of a sudden, as well as updates regarding the latest in the GTA6 hack that I'm sure those of you that are gamers out there have heard about, as well as more in the emerging news that is resided on the TikTok service of things, such as Walmart plane parachute delivery services, as well as different recommendations for software and some latest updates in troubleshooting and Elon Musk selling bricks. That and a lot more here on today's show. I'm your host Gregory again with my friend Mike. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Greg. How you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. Just being active, because at first I thought my sleep wasn't being consistent, so now I'm regularly exercising and eating a bit better, and sure enough, my sleep's been getting better. Slept a good 10 hours.
I'm glad to hear that. It's always nice to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, sometimes it's the simple things, just to have reliability towards things and whatnot.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I wanted to start this podcast off talking about some recent news in the crypto coin sector.
This is recent, up-to-date news regarding the crypto sector, okay?
Yeah, yes. So the biggest news recently was about the merge. And to be more specific, it's the merge between... Well, it's basically just kind of a moving over to proof of stake in the Ethereum. From proof of work over to proof of stake. So what happened is, for a long time, Ethereum has been planning to move over from proof of work to proof of stake. And the main reason they wanted to do this is because, the main reason they said they wanted to do this is because of it's more energy efficient. Now, whether or not this is really more energy efficient is still up in the air and still contested. There's a lot of heavy discussions going on about it. and one standpoint, my standpoint is, does this remove a lot of value from the coin? Because by doing proof of work, you're actually spending money to make money. So like you're using energy, and that costs money, and that's why the coin had value.
Mm-hmm.
So by staking which is what they're on now. What you're doing is you're staking your coin, and you can't. At first, you couldn't do anything with it. Like you just staked it up there, and you got rewards based on how much you staked. Now it's just transaction rewards that you get. If I remember correctly, this is all transaction rewards by staking, and it's deflationary. So now there's going to be less and less Ethereum out there. But surprisingly, even though it's deflationary, the price seems to have gone down post merge.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something interesting to follow and keep our eyes on. But one thing I really wanted to talk about is not only concerning proof of stake, but also proof of work and the direction that's going, and how it seems like some of Congress it was Congress and the president are not big fans of proof of work. They're really attacking it for not being
the environmentalism.
Environmental. It's so. What are your thoughts on that, Greg? Do you believe in the proof of stake? Are you kind of like, oh yeah, it's good for the environment, or?
I've read at least 3 different things about this debate, and if the findings are true that it is better for the environment, then go for it. Because if we are pushing towards a new environmental forward or focused agenda, then it would make sense that the proof of stake move would happen. But what's more interesting to me is that if this goes through, then I don't know how many other environmentalism things will pass either before certain changes are made, depending on if the parties switch within the next decade at least. So time will tell with that one. If like the parties keep switching every 4 years, then I think nothing will get done.
And I'm sure the Republicans will be like, hey, as soon as, because they seem to just be like completely opposite of what the other party is saying. So it's like, oh yeah, the Democrats are against proof of work. The Republicans will be like, oh, proof of work all the way. You know, it's just because it just seems like that.
Well, they don't like stuff being taken away with means to have money. The GOP. Mm-hmm. So that's why they like crypto more than like those on the other side. That's why I take it, because my older sister's circle think all crypto mining is bad because of the whole environmental mining power hungry business of it. Even though they listen to artists like Taylor Swift, they use the most jet fuel of anybody in the country. So who knows?
It's a really good point, Greg. And just to build on that, I want to say this: if they really cared about the environment, then they would stop using fossil fuels, and they would like what they're doing right now is, I would say, it's unconstitutional. Just because instead of going to the source and being like, hey, maybe we should stop, there's many ways to get electricity. There's solar, there's wind, there's all kinds of different ways. Yeah, there's hydropower. But instead of saying, hey, let's look at ways we can change the way we generate the electricity, they're like, let's just tell people to use less electricity.
Yeah.
Now they're focusing on the miners specifically that use proof of work, and it seems like an attack directly on them, especially as someone that has recently gotten started in the proof of work sector. It feels like an attack on people that believe in proof of work, and a lot of people are saying, well, it's just the government. They want to be in control. They want to be in control of of all our money, all our assets. They don't want us to be able to have the financial freedom that cryptocurrency gives us.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of eyes on cryptocurrency right now, as the SEC doesn't like how cryptocurrency itself is not defined as a security, even though they think that it should be defined as security. So that's why the SEC themselves, separately from this case of proof of work versus proof of stake, the SEC is like, I want to moderate this because I don't like how we don't know who owns the blockchain.
Right.
Exactly. But it's
at the
something
end
we're
of-
going to keep looking at.
At the end of the day, my personal opinion about this is, instead of putting a band-aid on a severed limb, which is what they're doing, by saying, oh, let's get rid of proof of work, they need to go to the crux of the problem and be like, hey, let's switch out all our coal and all our power plants that are using fossil fuels, basically, and tell them to switch over to another form of a renewable resource instead of using coal, because there's still a decent size. A lot of foreign countries are mainly using fossil fuels, and we still have a huge percentage of our country that uses fossil fuels for energy. We are getting better, but we're still kind of like, it's still a slow process. So I think the government's kind of using this as an excuse to kind of push their agenda. I think it's definitely something we can keep an eye on. And just as a last point on this, since I could go on for hours about this, if the government does say let's get rid of proof of work because you're just spending electricity to generate crypto, a sector to keep an eye on is proof of useful work. And just for those of you guys that don't know what proof of useful work is, it's instead of consuming energy to work out these calculations, and then if you get these calculations correct, then you get a reward. Proof of useful work is like, let me use a metaphor for this to help people understand. So if proof of work is like, let's say there's a treasure chest buried in a field somewhere, and you just keep digging holes. Let's say you and your team keep digging holes. That's kind of like what it is to be in a miner pool. It's a bunch of people digging holes, and then someone finds the chest. Now you all dug so many holes, so everybody gets a reward based on how many holes they dug. Proof of useful work is, instead of gold in that chest or whatever, you also find like the cure to cancer, or like medications that can improve your resistance to certain diseases. So proof of useful work is, in a sense, a company that lends its processing power to discover, and this was done a lot during COVID, where you would use your processing power to find medications to help fight COVID. And it was called protein folding. You guys can do your own research on that, but like, yeah, what you could do is you could give up your processing power on your gaming rig when you're at work or something, and it would do protein folding, and it would run all these calculations and send the results back to the host. And they could use that data it's kind of like a simulation to predict what medications would help fight cancer, or fight COVID, or fight all these different diseases. So I think proof of useful work is going to have a lot of people behind it down the road. And if you guys want to do research on that, it's Flux that is really tapped into it right now. At least that's the big one I heard of. I'm sure there's more out there. Did you have anything more to say on that, Greg? I know I kind of took the spotlight there.
No, I just kind of hold up my end of how I think real change comes when the same party is in office, because if the party keeps switching every 4 years, this is coming from someone that hates both parties again.
Yeah.
But I don't want to keep mentioning that, but if the party keeps changing, they're just going to keep on doing what the other one does. And at the same time, look, there's still storms that happen every year, and they don't give aid to it. They have areas and cities in this country that are still poor and have no water. Flint, Michigan, for instance. And in the meantime, we got channels that just make fun of whole cities because they can't get power back. So I think if it's like a collective effort or just general sympathy would be good. But with crypto, a lot of eyes and fingers are being pointed at them right now about how that's going to look. Much like a lot of fingers being pointed at Uber right now. Transitioning to our next story, where
nice transition.
Last Thursday, it was announced that the Uber rideshare giant got breached, and you can find this story on Wired.com and other outlets. But I'm looking at the piece on Wired, where the attacker, who's said to be only 18, maybe 17 years old, said, "I hereby announce that I am the hacker, and Uber has suffered a data breach because this guy essentially got credentials from somebody by pretending to be Uber's IT division, and by using social engineering and phishing, got the Uber workers' credentials, even passing through the multi-factor authentication. This guy was clearly not trained on how to stop this." And then he ends this assailant then concluded his tweet announcement saying he breached them by saying, #Uber underpays staff as drivers. So I see this as like a hacktivist sort of thing, with that sort of turn of phrase. As we mentioned previously with our guests that we've had here and in different stories, as hacktivism may be kind of not a part of many attacks, it's still a huge push for people to do something. And this means, as they did announce the following day on that Friday of last week that internal software tools that we took down as precaution yesterday are coming back online after they informed everyone to not use the application Slack, which is kind of like a more structured chat room for workers. For those that don't know what Slack is, Slack. And that's followed by a bunch of people saying, we're sorry, please don't fret with this, because this piece goes into saying how the attacker claims more so about this attack in this piece that this assailant contacted the same target on WhatsApp pretending to be an IT department representative from Uber, and allowing the multi-factor notifications to stop once the target approved a login for themselves over the person that he just kind of tricked into taking the login information. So, that all being said, we've said it a lot, but please train your staff on how to deal with these sorts of breaches. If someone asks for your information to log in and get into something after hours, check who they are first.
Yeah, doesn't hurt to. It's better to second guess yourself and be on the safe side. Maybe call somebody. It doesn't even matter if you're on hold. Be like, look, I gotta confirm this with my supervisor. I know Uber is kind of one of those companies that probably just has a long wait time for whatever support you're trying to get. But I think it's worth it, even if they're like, oh yeah, MIT, definitely double check. And yeah, I think this is another situation where we can make the point that not having a good support team or your company's because not all your Uber's a good example for this. Not everyone's well trained. Not everyone is on the company payroll and goes into the office and goes through training and so on and so on. It's very like you get the app, you go through some questionnaires or whatever, you fill out some information, and you're like an Uber driver, right? And and this is a definite weakness in the system.
And a giant like Uber, again, to give a look here on how much this guy was able to get into, they were able to access resources shared on a network that included scripts for Microsoft's automation and management program, PowerShell. And with control of this account, that was connected through admin credentials in their access management system. They would have been able to access tokens for Uber's own cloud infrastructure. The entire cloud infrastructure I'm talking about having access to like critical identity and authentication and data that this guy could have gotten out, but
So what kind of, if you say you're Uber going forward, what kind of security layers you put in place to prevent this from happening?
well, you have to go the zero trust route.
Zero trust, indeed. And I think it wouldn't even be a bad idea to hire more support. Maybe have like
Reinforce the courses for social
yeah,
engineering.
maybe even have a text, like you know how like some websites have that little text box. Maybe just have some way you could text with like be able to do like a little messaging box with support and just be like, is this person who they say they are? And then they'll be like, okay, ask them for this information, and if they then put in the information in the text box, and you can just have like a back and forth conversation with a support member, someone that you know is with the company. And yeah, that requires you to staff your company with these people, with support people to manage that. But I think at this level, where we potentially have someone at this threat level gaining access to your systems, I think it's worth it.
Exactly.
Do you have anything to add to that? Or you just want to go like zero trust all the way? Because like the average
We need the
Uber driver,
awareness.
the awareness is very important. I don't think the average Uber driver is gonna want to. I know, like sometimes when I'm just filling things out, I'm just typing in information and I'm not really reading through everything, even though I should be. I'm sure the average Uber driver is probably not reading through every single thing.
Well,
Or
yeah,
going
they're busy trying to make up and just trying to get that paper.
right.
But
They're more focused on their income.
yeah, to kind of nip this all in the bud, as my grandma would say. This situation comes at the heels of how it was last Wednesday that Twitter's former security chief, nicknamed Mudge Pietrzato, he invoked whistleblower protections as part of allegations regarding security practices at Twitter, with this seeming coming to play as another target of said attacks. I wonder if more of these will continue before the year ends. Likely, I'll find probably at least 2 more where a giant gets attacked. But time will tell with this, because later on in our coverage today, we might hear from this person again. Just to kind of plant the seeds a bit for stories to come that might come back to this assailant. But
speaking of planting seeds, let's go over to the seeds that NVIDIA has planted with its partners.
Yeah, so it kind of lost its seeds here, so to speak, with deliberations with EVGA not exactly going through for a further partnership between the two, as EVGA is now getting out of the graphics card business, as the company has reportedly made the decision to no longer work with NVIDIA because they call the NVIDIA graphics card company a bad partner, according to sources like the Gamers Nexus and Jay's 2 cents, and you can follow this story on TheVerge.com, and that EVGA themselves claim that NVIDIA wouldn't tell EVGA how much they would have to pay to obtain GPU cores before publicly announcing the cards at their shows and events, and that NVIDIA sent drivers required to take full advantage of its GPUs to journalists before sending them to EVGA, which I guess made a breach of contract. Again, that's only what one of the 2 sources at Gamers Nexus found out about this, as there's a lot of he said, she said in this ploy, but I wonder how this will fare for AMD and then Intel when they see stuff like this. They just try
Yeah,
to.
so I wanted to. So I actually listened to the WAN show, and the WAN show is another podcast done by Linus Tech Tips, and they actually were talking about this on the WAN show, and they went into more depth about because they have actually worked with NVIDIA before, and they went into more depth about kind of how the behavior of NVIDIA is just, I don't know, they just don't seem to respect the people they work with. Um, it seems like they're just kind of hard to work with in general.
NVIDIA, you mean?
Yeah, NVIDIA is hard to work with in general. And I don't want to focus on that too much because I think a lot of people already know this. If you've worked with NVIDIA already, you know that um, they're kind of hard to work with, and they seem not to follow through on a lot of things. But I want to focus more on EVGA. They're a bigger card making company. They make graphics cards, and
Well,
them
they'll stop.
stepping.
They'll stop the graphics card.
Yeah,
stuff
well,
by the end of the year,
they
but
stopped. Well, here's the thing: they said they're stopping making graphics cards
NVIDIA.
with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think this. They have all the tools to make them.
Yes.
Now, I don't think this. I think right now they're just kind of saying this not to hurt NVIDIA's feelings because they're such a big company. But I think if I'm AMD or another card company, or maybe I'm just trying to get started in the graphics card sector because it's so lucrative. Um, I'm looking at EVGA as a potential partner, saying, "Look, I know that NVIDIA burned you in the past, but we do things differently over here." If I'm a company like that, that's what I'm coming up to them and saying. I'm giving them proposals because they have all the equipment already. They don't have. You have to build facilities or do like make sure that all the facilities are up to code or anything. They have everything already. Now maybe EVGA just sells off its facilities to NVIDIA. Maybe it sells off its facilities to someone else. But
Yeah,
this
they
is the
did
time.
allege to maybe going small and going on huge expansions on other projects, such as power supplies, motherboards, and other components. But continue.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see where EVGA goes from here because they have a lot of potential there, and there's a lot of other clients, a lot of other clientele that will want to use their facilities or want their business.
And again, while Nvidia's again still high regard on their side of things, it doesn't have the reputation again of being a nice company, according to the like we mentioned here, and as The Verge reiterates. As it was just 2 years ago, it sparked a wave of backlash from the gaming press when it told a reviewer Hardware Unboxed that they'd have to change their editorial direction just to kind of. They wanted to influence their reviews in a way where it's like, don't publish 1 day reviews with like all the bad stuff. Like, please don't say bad stuff after 1 day. Like, yeah, like, come on. If it takes like a day to review something, which people have said it doesn't. I kind of get their point, but also when they have enough influence to say, no, review our products a little bit different, please. Please, just don't put out 1 day stuff immediately, please. That kind of shows Nvidia is kind of slimy with that, and I'll look out for more EVGA stuff going forward, of course, on The Verge and TechCrunch sites like that. But moving on from broken partnerships to ones that may find some deliberation down the line. Regarding search engines, people younger than me and Mike are starting to use TikTok more than Google to search things.
This is interesting.
Potentially that's like the main focus of this kind of discussion here. As again, this is The Verge. You can find this story, but I find it interesting as TikTok's algorithm is starting to get its head into the fields of who's like the most upstanding and most importantly engaging, powerful algorithm out there, which there's a huge pool of competitors in this thing. But yeah, as someone that doesn't use TikTok at all, I wonder how this will go because on one side we had TikTok, who was reviewed by Bloomberg as having 20% misinformation earlier this
Oof.
month, which that's a lot. But compared to
That's a high
Facebook, which
number.
has
Yeah.
compared to Facebook and Twitter, where it's probably I think double that on Twitter and Facebook, 20% is still a lot for TikTok, which is a huge platform, but it's not as set in stone as Facebook and Twitter yet. But
Oh, yeah.
that's a lot. That's a lot of fake crap.
I would definitely take anything you see online with a grain of salt. If it doesn't seem like it's true, it's probably not. Unless you can always do your own research, and definitely you do your own research. But I find this interesting as someone that uses TikTok more than they probably should. I commonly find myself doom scrolling just from one post to the next, or from one video to the next, and I'm like, I should be sleeping right now, but I'm scrolling through TikTok. I have found that the algorithm does find stuff. There's like local things. Like I've somehow it's suggested things that are local to me.
Yeah, that's what this person on The Verge did.
When I first moved to Florida, I don't know if I just liked something from Florida or how it does that, but it started like sending me things. Oh yeah, this local hot springs or whatever is in Florida, blah blah blah. And it seemed like an advertisement, but it was just someone talking about the hot springs, and it's a great way to advertise, to look for things nearby. I think what they said in this article is they searched for food, and they did get some recommendations local, but I think that's going to be a hard one because the difference between Google is you can turn on your location and it will find stuff near you. TikTok, you're kind of just you either have to put you either have to put in your location. You have to say food shops in this location or food shops in this county, or you have to put in your zip code for the stuff you actually want to come up. But like another thing they mentioned in the article is like the way it's marketed to you, the way it'll like instead of like Google, it's just Google is just you search it and it comes up with a blue title and doesn't give you a lot to go on just from that first page. But when you search something on TikTok, you do get like a small video, and it's a quick video that just kind of like gives you a quick overview of whatever you searched, which is it's just a nice way to, because like at a first glance you can kind of tell if it's something that interests you. Does this push the future of browsing and browsers? Is this going to push Google into, hey, maybe we add video to our ad or to our searches? Maybe we add more information, or just switch it up somehow so that you get better search results. Or maybe people just switch to TikTok in general, and TikTok takes your location and your and people start using it as advertising for their local food, your local restaurants, your local gas stations, whatever. Just it'd be interesting to see how this progresses in the future. Because right now, I don't see it working out as a browser.
No, not now.
Right, but in the future, I could see potential in it. Or if another browser adapts this ideal, I definitely see a potential down the line.
Because I like how The Verge takes this as they see it as less of a threat to Google themselves, because the search algorithm, when they compared both of them, Google's still beating them in like basic stuff such as what's specific and transactional. Like one of the most popular things on Google is like, what's the weather tomorrow? USPS tracking, Facebook, Amazon. You can't search those on TikTok. Like
It's
the best
funny
you can
though.
do,
I did.
can, but you'll mostly get like people that hashtag it in just association with stuff like they bought
Yeah,
or
I did
something. Not
see
like info on like how to
a
order something
weather
from Amazon.
report. I did see a weather report today for Florida on the like. So you know about the hurricane, right? Or
Yeah,
this
Hurricane
possible.
Ian.
So I did see a weather report for Florida. It was on my For You page, and I was just scrolling through, and it came up, and it was kind of like just someone going through what the idea or the what the projected path of it was, and the other possible paths. Um, so I thought that was kind of cool too. So um, sometimes I do rely on TikTok for news and updates on that kind of stuff. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. For the future of browsing and I guess maybe it's the new YouTube, maybe it's the new Google.
I'd say it's new
Somewhere down the
YouTube.
line. Yeah, somewhere down the line.
It's been two years in a row TikTok has beaten YouTube in views on like a year cumulative basis. As well, TikTok is good for like, as this guy puts it, finding restaurants, recommendations for recipes, and all sorts of that sort
I've
of
done
matter,
that.
and just getting content that you like really fast compared to YouTube, where lately YouTube's gone under fire for actually not doing well with like the stuff you're not interested with. Like if you hit not interested on a video, you'll still see it
I have done that on
a
TikTok
week
though, where
later.
I have saved recipes. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make this later. But I
Like
think
it was, yeah,
right now it's not really a search engine. It's more of a few, like because everything I do is on the For You page. I'm not really searching for it.
uh-huh.
Well, it'd be interesting to look at it down the line in the future. But let's talk more about the future with another hacker.
Well,
They leaked
this is
GTA6.
yeah. So this might be the most mainstream of the stories we have, but then again, there's a lot of storms and unrest happening in the country still. So I could be wrong with that, but this is what ties in with the Uber hack because it is alleged that this person, this assailant, was captured down in London. Actually, just a few days before the day of this podcast recording by London police. And it's a 17-year-old boy. He was arrested in Oxfordshire, and it is said by this reporter Matthew Keys on Twitter that it is he is a member of the group Lapsus, which is a group for cyber criminal activity that was primarily formed on Telegram channels. So that kind of closes that book because in the gaming circle, when the GTA6 hack got out, which is already a weird coincidence that the Uber hack and the GTA6 hack was by one person, and those are two big surface areas right there in terms of what grabs eyes. Uber and GTA6. And for those that don't know, it's Grand Theft Auto 6. It's a huge game that's supposed to come out in the near future by the company Rockstar Games Studios. But yeah, this is a huge update that we got in. And
What are your thoughts behind this? Do you think this is a big deal? Like you're like, oh yeah, this guy's terrible for hacking a video game and leaking it. Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, this person was smart, and when I told the story to my parents, my dad said he's gonna get a good job one day. Catch Me If You Can style, if you know that movie and story. Yeah, he'll
I
probably go to
do.
jail. Like I don't know his sentencing. His sentencing, I think, is gonna be like before the month ends, from what I've been reading. But
I don't see this as a big deal. So what he hacked a video game company and leaked it. This
yeah,
is free
gameplay got out.
advertising. This is free advertising for them. Right?
Yeah, in a way, I mean, the company's still upset that they're like, or in their words, they're extremely disappointed, but that they mentioned that there's no long-term effect on the development for this game.
Right.
That nothing else was touched.
They're still gonna make the game. They're still gonna release it. Tons of people are still gonna play it, just based on the fact that Grand Theft Auto 5 was such a big hit. They're still gonna make boatloads of money. So to me, it's not a big deal. I don't know why he wasted his time hacking something that's gonna come out soon anyway. Maybe just to prove that I could do it. So to me, it's just free advertising for the company, and he'll probably get a slap on the wrist.
I mean, I don't know who's going to sentence him. Probably Europe, I would say, because that's who caught him, I want to say, because he's part of a hacking group that's based in Europe. Mm-hmm. And that's how I'll close this, is how the hacking group Lapsus, I guess in March of this year, a 16-year-old was arrested with connection to them, who was nicknamed White. I'm not making that up.
Name. Okay. I thought he would have...
He was accused of being one of the leaders of the hacking group. And I guess he was one of 7 who was arrested by the City of London police again.
He used to come up with a better name.
He was released eventually, though, it says in this Eurogamer piece. Yeah. Which, I don't know how you get something released for like something like this, but I just find it funny how in the end of this piece, the 16-year-old's father was like, I didn't know about this. He did not know his son was a criminal.
They thought he was playing video games. He's like, oh, we know he's good at computers, but he's always playing video games.
Yeah. So that's kind of the attack thread we're going off with this. But that's another hacking group we mentioned on this podcast. I would say that's like, what, the 5th hacking group
I would like to see this guy come up with a better... I guess he's stuck with that name, though, right? Since he was already charged with something.
Well, White's a different person. The guy that got caught the other day who hacked GTA6 and Uber, that guy's nickname we don't know.
Oh, okay.
Or his name we don't know, from what I've been able to uncover. And not that I want to make stars out of criminals and whatnot, unlike America. There's not to sidetrack a lot, but they're making another Jeffrey Dahmer thing on Netflix, Mike.
I don't know if I've seen it.
That's like the 20th time they've done something for that guy. And he's like a celebrity status now because America loves true crime.
They do. There's so many true crime podcasts, it's ridiculous.
I know. Like,
I've never been a big fan of true crime podcasts, but...
Not me. I like listening to tech and comedy, and that's all. You know, like stuff that like enlightens me and makes me laugh. But we'll look more into this going forward about if this guy gets sentenced and what his if prison time is, if he gets any, because I don't know, it's Europe. I don't know the rules. So
fair enough.
We're going to the we want to spotlight something first. For those of you that use YouTube a lot, they a while back they got rid of the YouTube dislike button because of I forget their fake reason why, but to get it back, there's a Google Chrome extension that can give you it, and we'll link that in the podcast along with the rest of our stories.
Great. And I want to just say this is a great, a good reason to get this is, you want to
tutorials,
right? So if tutorials and just in general, if you're looking for software or something like that, and you don't know if this download link under the YouTube video is like, I don't know, a Trojan or something. You want to be able to tell. Like sometimes you can tell just by how many dislikes a video has, if it's legit or not.
Yeah.
So
or
yeah,
for stories fake as well.
Yeah, for story's sake. So it's nice to just be able to see how many people disliked it, to see how legitimate it is. So I was kind of sad when they removed it at first, and then I saw that they added this back as like a, or they didn't add it back, but you can add it.
YouTube did not make this extension
as an extension, right? You can add it back as an extension.
Yeah,
so that's always nice, and we'll definitely link that for you guys so you can get it as well. But let's go ahead and move into the TikToks that I found this week. Or I guess it wasn't this week. It was probably a couple weeks. But yeah, the first one's a plane that delivers packages. And this TikTok, we're just gonna go over these real quick. But like the plane, they just put the package in the plane with the parachute and like kind of like shoot it out of like I don't even know. They put it up like a ramp and shoot it up this ramp. I want to say it's like a slingshot or something. And they shoot it up the ramp and it flies out there and drops your package with a parachute. I don't know. It's pretty cool. Do you have any thoughts on that, Greg?
It said this is Walmart.
Yeah, it was the Walmart brand. At least that's
I've
what.
seen them break into the space.
Yeah,
Of innovation besides like the good old. I mean, there are people that sometimes don't even like their regular services, but this is a step in the right direction for them. And I mean, I have trouble with just regular deliveries on foot, where people go like, "Where's your house?" It's like, look at the number on the address, which is why there's definitely going to be future topics and discussions on automation versus on foot delivery and all that jazz.
Well, it's just good to see them getting into that space. But let's go ahead and move into the next one. Let's try and get through these, and the next one is the YouTube. It's a YouTube. It's kind of like a knockoff.
Yes.
I forget what it's called. Do you remember off the top of your head?
So it's like an alternative version of
You can't get it in the Play Store. It's called NewPipe. Okay, it's newpipe.net is where you want to get this. But you just get it on your phone, and you can. There's a lot of nice features to it. It's basically just YouTube, but you can download your video and watch it in offline mode. You can play it like if you want background music while you're doing other stuff on your phone. You can hit the play button and it'll play in the background, or it'll play while the phone's closed. And there's a lot of other features. Yeah, pictures and pictures. There's a lot of other features. So definitely go check that out if you guys get a chance. It's just really cool.
And from really cool to really random, what is this about Elon and bricks?
Okay, so this is funny. You know how Elon Musk has the Boring Company, right? Where he's like drilling through the earth, and like so all the dirt and everything that he collects, he's turning into bricks and selling those bricks. It's just a cool way to like use like the excess dirt that he's pulling out of the ground. I just thought it was kind of cool and wanted to share it with you guys.
It's interesting that he's at least repurposing it compared to like what I see nowadays when I drive around and see construction sites just go, let's just leave the dirt out.
Yeah.
Nothing will happen, right? Not to put down construction workers all the time. You guys are underfunded and don't get enough pay and support. But
and the next TikTok video is this one's about Google retooling
their algorithm.
Yeah, there's a new page ranking system to help you get the information you're looking for. Because have you ever like Googled something and not found what you're looking for? Like you have to read through a whole article to find what you're looking for in the article.
A lot of places that do that with the recipes.
Yeah, especially like recipes or something where you're just like, oh, I just need to know the actual recipe. So apparently they're redoing the algorithm so that the new page ranking system is better, so that you can find what you're looking for quickly, which is excellent. When any improvements on the already great system from Google is always a positive. So we just wanted to mention that. And the next TikTok is about typing in uppercase. I know. As a gamer, I'm always using my caps lock for like buttons.
There's some angry parents out there that use it too.
I'll use like the caps lock, and then I'll just like forget that it's on, and I'll start typing something, and I'll look up, and I'll be like, "Oh shit!"
Like, do you remember the Free Brad's wife? Like old meme.
I don't think I remember that one.
It was the guy who typed in all caps on Facebook because he was upset that his wife got fired from Cracker Barrel, and he would type in all caps. Why did you fire my wife?
I remember the all caps rage meme.
He's like, why did you fire my wife? He was spamming on that, but it's incredible.
So this TikTok explains on like if say you typed a lot of like maybe just a sentence or maybe it was a paragraph. So if you typed a bunch of stuff in caps, you can highlight that and then Shift F3, and it makes everything lowercase. And you can hit, I think it's like F3 again to just recapitalize the first letter of the sentence or something like that. But yeah, even just the first part where you can make it from uppercase to lowercase. It's just a nice feature to share with you guys, and so that you don't have to go back and change it all, either delete it or change it all manually.
It's all reliable because it can be useful for just things like just sending out the right tone for a work email or a Discord message DM to your partner, so that you're not yelling at your partner about something like, "Oh, why'd you forget this? The squash."
It's a nice quick fix. And the next TikTok here is the Flipper Zero remote. It's kind of like a hacking. I want to say it uses infrared.
That's what I was wondering about this. Is that how commercial is this? Like, can anyone buy it?
I think it's legal. I think it just has to. I think the guy that bought it said that it took a while to get through customs, but I think it's just like an infrared remote that sends out a wave of signals. Yeah, that sends out a wave of signals, and then once it hits the signal, it just opens whatever. Like you could change channels or whatever.
Like TV remotes also work with infrared.
Yeah, so like you could use it on your TV. You could use it to open. Like I think he was showing it off in the video. He's like, "Oh yeah, it opens like car gates. It opens Tesla. Like you know how you open the Tesla. Like I think it's the rear light is the gas valve, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess it's not gas. It'd be electricity to recharge your battery. But like yeah, so you could use the remote and it opens out all kinds of stuff. So definitely something to watch out for security reasons. I'm pretty sure it's infrared, but don't quote me on that. But make sure your devices are secure. Yeah, I think he said it was like $201 or something like that.
Oh.
But yeah, definitely if you're making a device, maybe shy away from infrared. Especially if it's something highly secure, you want high security on, since this is out there.
Yeah, it takes me back to when people would buy those universal remotes, and it would be a prank where you'd go into gyms and bars that have universal remotes and just mess with the TVs.
Yeah,
with battery packs.
It does remind me of that.
Like that's a throwback back when I was in grade school and didn't have the worries.
I think you could do that. I used to have a Palm Pilot, and you could download like an app because it had infrared. You could download an app to the Palm Pilot and make it a universal remote. But enough about universal remotes. Let's move into the last TikTok of the day. There was a TikTok video about PS5 USB ports, and I'm not sure how true this is, but there was a repair guy who's repairing all these USB or all these ports. USB? Yeah, the USB ports on your PS5. He's saying that a lot of them are failing, and so he was
11 of the 19 prongs are loose.
Yeah, so he said that they're coming out of the factory like this, where they're just like poorly attached, and he kind of does like a how-to video, or he kind of just shows it of him resoldering the USB. And I think he just switched it out. He might have just switched it out for a new one, but it kind of
the prongs.
Yeah, so he switched it out for a new USB. He put some flux on there, desoldered it, put some new. I think he fluxed it again, put some new solder on there, and just resoldered it to the board. But it's I figured it was a great how-to video if you guys have bad USB ports on your PS5, or just maybe a warning to you guys, just so you know if something happens to your PS5, maybe it wasn't your fault. Maybe it wasn't quality tested enough at the factory.
Yeah, because I feel for Sony, because they had a state of play the other day, and they're getting all this hype in for the holiday season, for all the games coming out. So, heading into the holiday season and seeing stuff like this out, it gives you kind of some skepticism before trying to buy a console again, because it is still not exactly entirely possible to get a PS5, from what I've heard. My friend Jackson, actually, down in the Upper Cleveland area, he told me Like he tried calling Target in a bunch of places, they still didn't have them. Just like as a way to like give them go. So it's something with what Sony's dealing with right now. But it's stuff like this that won't help, of course. Seeing how there's like a port issue, as well as something that not everyone knows how to solder. So
I mean, it's a great skill to have if you do have it, and it's quite easy to learn, especially since there's tons of YouTube and TikTok videos on there out there how to do it. Oh crap! I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
And then some, because if Google and TikTok are fighting for better searching algorithms, like Google's trying to do, like we just mentioned earlier in one of the TikTok videos we spotlighted, it'll be very telling if more stories like this come out and get judged appropriately based on the right ranking system and not the old ranking system that Google had before. Which
I just remembered what I was going to say. So just with knowing that this quality fail with PS5, that was a good time to go ahead and build a PC or buy a PC with graphics cards as low as they are right now.
Of course,
it's definitely a great. I mean, there's a lot of great benefits to having a PC over any kind of system, really. Not only do you have mods and the ability to upgrade with newer releases, so that you can play the newer games. There's a lot more variety in the games you can play. So, and there's a lot more reasons out there too. I'm not going to go into all of them for sake of time. But yeah, do you have anything else to add, Greg, or you want to just go and wrap it up here?
Yeah. So we'll keep a look at more emerging tech stories and the like as we do every week on the TechIT podcast. We just want to thank you again all for watching, and if you want to give us some support, we have a Patreon that we launched earlier this month, and we'll put the link to that Patreon just to give us some support in any way you can. If you want to just have a take in on our show and just you want it, maybe even show up and give us your take on the show. There's different tiers on Patreon that you can give us some financial support as well. We greatly appreciate it as we try to put the best out for you people. As well, everyone was covering a monarch that sadly passed away. We try to give you guys the best security news out there, while everyone else ignores and puts it away in the basket. So thank you all again for watching. Please like, share, and comment. I don't know if you can comment.
They can on YouTube,
platform, but
yeah.
Like, share, and comment on this, and feel free to just give us a whirl every time that we put out an episode. We try to do them at least twice a month. And always, stay vigilant.
Yeah, stay vigilant, guys.